Get ready, superstar. We're going to talk about how to let go of expectations and change everything in your life. Disappointment is a natural human reaction when things don't go the way we want them to. And so even though it's normal, it doesn't necessarily mean it's very good for us. Psychiatrists have actually determined that people who are frequently disappointed suffer from a whole host of physical and emotional and psychological problems. And that chronic disappointment can even lead to chronic physical, emotional, and psychological problems. Why am I talking about disappointment when the topic of the video is expectations? Well, disappointment happens when we have expectations that are not met. As one famous thinker once said, expectations are the raw material of disappointments. So how do we handle and deal with the disappointments that arise from having expectations? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about a new approach to life, a new context, a new perspective that will naturally lower disappointment without lowering your standards for living, without lowering what your dreams and possibilities are. Because obviously, one way to lower your disappointment is to lower your standards, but that's not what I'm talking about here. And if you know me well, you know that that's impossible, because my whole philosophy on life, the whole mission of Superstar Activator, is to activate people into their fullest expression, their full glory. So I'm not here to tell you to lower your standards, but I am going to change, I hope, your relationship to your own expectations. So let me start with my own story, a little piece of my story to kind of share how I discovered this for myself. About 7-8 years ago, I was engaged to be married. And that engagement broke up in a really spectacular, dramatic fashion. I was inconsolable. And the reason I was inconsolable is because I had established expectations. At the time this happened, I had a sense of entitlement. I felt like at 39 years old, it was finally my turn to meet somebody, fall in love, and get married. Here's the thing. That disappointment usually stems from a few common places. Number one, it stems from control and a desire to control all aspects of life and manage every little thing so that it meets our expectations. So there's a big difference between expectations and control versus desire and possibility. There's a different energetic resonance to those two things. So I was operating from expectations and deserving, entitlement. I deserve this, it's my turn, I should have this, and I want to control the outcome, so I'm going to make it happen. Another thing that it stems from is lack of trusting. And when I talk about lack of trust, I'm not just talking about lack of trusting myself or even not trusting others or my fiance, but really trusting with a capital T. I'm talking about trusting life. When we don't trust life, we need to control and micromanage every aspect of it. And so when we create these expectations and we're disappointed, we think that we did something wrong or somebody else did something wrong, or more often even the universe or God did something wrong, depending on your worldview. And finally, this type of control, this type of disappointment based on expectations is also based on a worldview that's judging, rather than neutral or observing or even appreciative and loving. By the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a link to a video that's going to really support you when it comes to making the shift from judging to observing to loving. Okay, so watch for that at the end. And by the way, right now, you can take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and remember to post a comment below if this resonates with you. Like I said, disappointment usually stems from a desire to control, a feeling of entitlement, a sense that things should be a certain way, which means we're not trusting and we're not allowing things to unfold as they're going to unfold. So when we get into that kind of that mindset, that way of being, that perspective that we need to control every aspect of our lives, automatically our expectations, well, they often get bigger, but our ability to be with life as it's unfolding gets less and less and less. So we start to have a real struggle, and life starts to be very difficult because we want to control every aspect of life so we can have more of the outcomes we want. What's the solution to this? So ultimately, it boils down to one really simple thing with a lot of different components, which is to cultivate trust. Another word for that is equanimity. Basically, it's cultivating a detachment from outcomes and instead to cultivate the emotions that are going to lead to better outcomes without attaching to the outcomes. What do I mean by that? I mean taking on perhaps even just an intellectual exercise in the beginning. It might not be easy to do, and it might be sort of a philosophical exercise at first, where you take on this new worldview, just try it on for size. What if you trusted everything? What if you assumed that every single thing that happens is happening for you and not to you? What if you let go of expectations and instead say, this is something I desire. I am going to go after it. I'm going to do these activities. I'm going to do everything I can to have this. And at the same time, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to surrender. What my mentor calls it, I'm going to put it on the altar. So I'm not going to be attached to it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to desire it. I'm going to cultivate all the things associated with it. And at the same time, and this might feel a little paradoxical, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to give it up. I'm going to trust, and I'm going to surrender. This is a really powerful way to operate your business. It's a really powerful way to operate in relationships and in life in general. Taking on a fundamental worldview that everything is already okay and that everything is exactly as it should be, and really cultivating the energetic of allowing and receiving life as it's unfolding, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not pretty, even if it's not what you would have chosen if given the opportunity. But if you just adopt the worldview that, well, what's happening is perfect and I'm choosing it because it's happening, it's a very empowering way to be in the world. And it can allow you to let go of disappointment, releasing expectations and instead focusing on cultivating desire and cultivating love and neutrality and trust and surrender, while at the same time saying, I'm going all in. This is what I want this outcome, and I'm putting it on the altar. I'm not attached to it. That's a really powerful way to completely shift your relationship to life, to expectations, and to disappointment. Because what happens when we take this worldview on is that we naturally start to relate to disappointment as a gift. We can start to see how when things unfold exactly as they're unfolding, even if they're not perfect, even if they don't meet those expectations, but we take on, wow, didn't get the thing I wanted, but I got this other outcome instead. Why would this happen for me? Why would this be a gift? How could I view this as a gift? What is the gift in this? How, if I assume that there's a gift in this, what would it be? It allows us to move through the disappointment much, much quicker and gain the blessings, the gifts, and the learnings on the other side. So let me give you an example of this in action. So I've been working with a mentor for about 4 or 5 years, Nani Leia. I've talked about her a lot. Soon, one day, I'd love to have her on this channel. And with her, I started to really focus on this. I adopted this worldview and I claimed trust as the torch that I was going after. I'm gonna learn how to trust. This was a few years ago. And I remember that year in the summer, I held a retreat, and it was the very first time that I ever held a retreat, and no one enrolled in my 1-year program on the back of the retreat. Not one person. That had never happened to me before. Now, I had expectations. So I'd done, 20, 30 retreats. And every single time, at least one, usually 2, 3, 4, 5 people would enroll in what I call the big back end. This was the first time. And this was not a cheap retreat. We were doing it in Denver. We got a special hotel in Denver. We went all out. I flew in coaches. I did the whole thing. And no one enrolled in the big back end. Now, I'd been doing the work, right? And so I was like, well, right in it, right? The same day that it happened, that last day of the event, I said, well, if I take my own advice, I eat my own cooking, how is this a gift? And I just took on that it had to be a gift and I had to find the lesson in it. And so I did. And I found many. But the biggest lesson was when I really checked in and I went through each and every person that had been in that retreat. What I can tell you is I wanted truly deeply to work with none of them. The universe gave me the gift of not taking on any clients that weekend that I didn't really want to serve for a whole year. Every single one of those people would have been a compromise of my standards. I would have had to drop my standards of what I really desired in order to work with them. the universe did me the favor of giving me the gift of not doing that. And I was able to make that determination in the same weekend. I didn't have to wait several months looking back, say, oh no, those weren't clients for me. I was able to see it right away because I had taken on the worldview. I had decided, I had chosen, I'm gonna take this on as a gift. If it's a gift, why is it a gift? And that's where I was able to get to. The next retreat after that, I enrolled a whole bunch of clients who were absolutely great fits because now I had that discernment. Now I had that experience of saying, all right, I'm only gonna invite you into the room if I think you're gonna be a good client. So that was a game changer for my business. And that was a real inflection point after which things really changed and the level of my clients came way up. I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to learn about how to grow your business, your coaching or consulting or speaking business in a way that's aligned with your greatest gifts, your truest self, your highest purpose on this planet, maybe I can help. Go to superstaractivator.com/go if you want to learn more about what it looks like to work with me. I look forward to meeting you.